Welcome to the Warframe Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Detron. Now, this weapon is only available from Barakatir, the Void Trader, though luckily it is tradable, so you can also buy it from other players using Platinum. The Detron is a Mastery Rank 9 semi-automatic secondary shotgun that fires 7 pellets by default, and it does pure radiation damage with very low 8% crit chance, a below average 1.5 times scream multiplier, though very high status chance of 13.7% per projectile, and it sports an 8-round magazine with a 1-second reload. Now, while the spread on the Detron is fairly tight, it's still very much a short-ranged weapon. It has pretty harsh fall-off that starts at 16 meters and ends at 30, and it kicks quite a bit. And finally, the Detron has access to the Detron-specific Thermagnetic Shells augment, which makes enemies explode on death, dealing 40% of their maximum health as magnetic damage in a 6-meter radius. This is really good versus the Corpus because magnetic damage is awesome against shields and pretty much nothing else, but it's still usable for the other factions too. Now, as far as the build goes, there are kind of like two ways you can take this. You can either go status heavy with less focus on damage, or damage heavy with less focus on status. And they're both good, but in different scenarios. For the Corpus, I tend to focus more on status, and I run Thermagnetic Shells with Viro and Heat. This is a really good combo because the explosion from Thermagnetic Shells will usually wipe out the shields from surrounding units, allowing your Viro and Heat to attack their health directly. But when it comes to the Grineer, I actually tend to go more damage heavy without Thermagnetic Shells, and I run Corrosive and Heat instead. But I'm still adding in some status with Sure Shot and Stunning Speed. I'm just not running dual stat mods. This results in far more upfront damage, but also really good armor strip for those beefier units thanks to Corrosive and Heat. Now, if you'd like a little bit more clear speed against some of the armored factions like the Grineer or the Corrupted, I wouldn't actually recommend Thermagnetic Shells. I would instead recommend Seeker for punch through, because magnetic damage isn't necessarily great against armor. It's neutral versus ferrite armor, which is worn by the lower tier units like, Lancers, Butchers, Heavy Gunners, that kind of stuff, but it actually does 50% less damage against alloy armor, which is worn by the elite units like Elite Lancers and Bombards. This is one of my favorite secondaries in the game because it's just really fun to use. The fact that it does solid damage as well is just a nice bonus. But before we talk about recommendations and all that, we need to compare it to the Tenet Detron. And I'm just gonna say right off the bat that if you're willing to farm out the Tenet Detron from a Sister of Parvos, you should do so, because it's just better. It will on average do more damage because of the bonus element, it has much better crit, allowing you to run a hybrid setup, it has better multi-shot, and it's more accurate. But that doesn't mean the Detron is bad, it's still a really fun secondary shotgun that does solid damage. So I would recommend you pick it up if you see it on Barrow, but only if you're not yet able to get the Tenet version. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.